Hey filmmakers, how you guys doing out there? I hope you're doing awesome, because today I want to show you 10 totally normal household items that you probably have laying around right now that you could be using for filmmaking and creating videos. Let's get into the first item, and that's going to be a plain old white sock, like this one. It's clean, don't worry. So what the heck could you possibly use a white sock for when it comes to filmmaking? I mean, that just seems kind of weird, right? Well, let's say you have some practicals in the background of your scene, like this lamp here. Well, I love practicals because they add a lot of warmth and like just a nice bit of extra production value to your scenes. But these lines on the wall are way too harsh. Look at these harsh shadows it's casting, and the light just will really take away from your scene in the background, and it's a little bit distracting. So we want to diffuse that. And I've actually found that one of the best tools for diffusing is just a plain white sock. And you only want to do this on LED light bulbs, because if you do this on normal light bulbs, the sock is going to burn up and you might light your house on fire or wherever you're shooting. And honestly, you're just going to slide it right over the top of the light bulb. And just like that, already you can see how soft it is now. Look at those edges, they're really soft. You're really not seeing those harsh lines on the wall anymore, but you're still getting a nice subtle glow from the lamp. The next item we're going to use is probably all around your house already. I've got a shower curtain rod here, and we're also going to use normal curtain rods. Let's head back into my office now, because we need to grab a clamp that we can use with the shower curtains and other curtain rods. So this is a Mathellini clamp. You could also use a Cardellini clamp. Either one will work, but they are the perfect thing for clamping onto rods and poles and things like that. So let's grab a light now, because we're gonna actually use this to hang a light. So let's head back into the living room, and I'm gonna show you guys how you can use something like this, and it's just so versatile. So the first thing we wanna do is, let's say that you're filming a scene, maybe it's a narrative piece or an interview or something. A lot of times you film interviews at people's houses, and a lot of times they're sitting on the couch, but you need a back hair light or something like that, and you don't want to get the stand, the light stand, in the shot, and it's hard to hide. Well, with a simple clamp like this, you can actually just put it right onto the curtain rod. Let's grab the LED light panel. I'm just using a cheap one from Newer, and I have a battery power on the back here, because that way I don't have a bunch of cables hanging down that I have to hide and everything like that. Especially if I'm shooting someone right here, this light is gonna be right above them and you won't see that it's even there at all. And then just wanna tilt it down here so that if someone was sitting right here, it'll give them a nice back hair light. The next item we're gonna grab is a towel or a piece of cardboard. Honestly, either one of them will get the job done. Grab your piece of cardboard, and you wanna cut it down to be just a little bit bigger than your camera, because you're actually gonna be putting your camera on top of it and using this as a makeshift slider. So let's say that you don't have money for a slider, or maybe you're traveling or get to your location and you totally forgot your slider. Well, as long as you can find a piece of cardboard or a towel, you can get away with a couple slider shots, as long as you have a smooth surface to work off of. It's easy to do this with a DSLR. If you're using a larger, bigger camera, it's gonna be a lot harder to pull off. So we've got our subject here in the background, which is just this little plant and the little letter S. Now, it's gonna take some practice. It's not gonna be perfect, but a good way of doing it is just lining up the piece of cardboard with the edge of the surface, whether it's a table or a countertop or something like that, and try and keep it steady along with that. Putting my thumbs against the edge here to kind of pretty much do this and just keep it from going anywhere else. I do like the cardboard better, but you can definitely do it with a towel as well. So same thing here. I'm just going to kind of slide it along the edges here, nice and smooth. The next item to grab is a strainer. Yeah, like the ones you use for making pasta and delicious spaghetti. You're probably wondering, how on earth are you gonna use this for filmmaking? Like, is it gonna be a hat? Is this a prop for like a futuristic video or something? No, that would be terrible. Don't try that. So let's actually use this as a cucaloris. If you don't know what a cucaloris is, it's commonly called a cookie, and it's basically just an object that you shine a light through to help make some cool patterns. All right, so we're gonna be using this gray backdrop as our background, but really you could use anything. You can just use a normal wall or whatever for the background of this. Let's get the light kicked on. It's okay, it's lit up, but it has no interest to it, right? So we're gonna grab this awesome strainer again, and I'm gonna try just clamping it to the light. Haven't actually done it on this light before, but hoping that we can get this to stay on okay. Yeah, that kind of works. It's pretty heavy, the strainer is, but you can see it's kind of broken up the background now. It looks kind of interesting. I'm gonna back it up even more because I think it's just a little bit too close. I want it to be this soft, kind of blobby background. It just provides a little bit more interest. You don't have to use a strainer. You could really use anything with holes in it. You could obviously just grab a piece of cardboard again and cut out some slits or make blinds or holes in it, whatever you want, and just shine a light through it. The next thing we're gonna use is a TV, or you could even use a computer monitor for this one. We're just gonna use Apple TV to actually mirror an image to my screen. So now the TV is working as one giant RGB panel, and you can make this any color that you want, right? So I've got freaking bright blue on. So now we have the overhead light off, and you're just seeing that bright blue light on the side of my face, kind of more of a moody look, but you can see how this definitely looks like you might have an RGB light or gelled light off to the side of your subject. So it's kind of a cool effect. The next thing we're gonna DIY hack is a broom, and really we just need the pole. So you could also use something like a PVC pipe. Okay, so we've got our broomstick, and I was gonna use this broom, but trying to do it, it doesn't actually unscrew from the bristles, and I don't want those, so we're not gonna use this broom, but most brooms, that comes apart. Like, what the heck? This thing is indestructible. So instead, we're going to use just a basic PVC pipe. Again, you could really use any pole for this, and we're gonna use it as a makeshift boom pole. So how exactly are we going to attach this microphone to the pipe? Well, I've actually used gaffer's tape before, but we're gonna go a little bit better than that, one step up. So I'm grabbing a simple small rig clamp that I have a cold shoe mount on the top of, and we're going to just clamp it right to the end here. We're gonna take my little shotgun microphone and slide it right on. So of course, this cable's way too short to make it to the recorder, so I've got a simple little extension, and then I'm just gonna wrap it around our little pole here to keep it from dangling. Use a little adapter to go into XLR, and then we could plug it right into my Zoom H6. And so now your boom operator can throw this, on a lanyard or in their pocket or whatever it is. I'm gonna throw it in my pocket for our purposes here. And then you see how someone could just hold this guy up and get some nice, good, clean audio without needing an actual boom pole. Another item we can use for filmmaking is a shower curtain. And this one looks kind of gross. This is a commonly used one on sets pretty often actually, because they work so great. So we're gonna be using the shower curtain as a piece of diffusion that we're actually going to shine a hard light source through to help soften it up. So I'm gonna get that all set up right now so you guys can see what it looks like. To hang the diffusion, I am gonna be using a C-stand, but you could hang it from any other pole or light stand or whatever you have. And to get this fastened to the C-stand, I'm just using these basic clamps from Home Depot. They're super cheap and that works great. So it doesn't have to be anything pretty. Basically, you're just trying to get that diffusion hung. Doesn't look perfect, but whatever. So now let's get the light kicked on. And I'm using, again, the Aperture LS Mini 20D. Anytime you're diffusing light, you wanna make sure that you have distance between the light and the diffusion. A common mistake that I see a lot of people make is they're like, oh, I got some diffusion. And they'll put their light like this. That doesn't work. It's totally against the inverse law. So you need to get that light away from the diffusion. Now your light source is no longer the 2 inches of this LED light. It's the full, 4 by 4 foot square piece we have here. So obviously this is a pretty dramatic light, just having one light source, the other side's in a lot of shadow. So you could put a bounce or a fill light on the other side of the face here and to help bring that up, which actually leads me into the next one. The next item we're gonna use is a white sheet or towel. And it really has to be white because if it's any other color, it just won't work super well. Okay, so now we're going to use a towel or a white sheet to provide a nice bounce and fill to the other side of my face so it's not so dramatic. So obviously a towel, not super pretty, neither's an old shower curtain, but they're both gonna get the job done. The next items we're gonna use for filmmaking are a handful of black trash bags and some duct tape. Let's say you're filming an interior scene that's supposed to take place at night, but it's bright and sunny outside and that light is just streaming through all the windows. Well, you can close the blinds, but a lot of times light leaks through the cracks anyways and it gives away the effect completely. It looks like daylight. So that's where these black trash bags come into place. Just grab a couple of them and start duct taping them up around the window and windowsill. The next household items we're gonna use are a bunch of blankets. We've been using towels, shower curtains. Well, there's uses for just standard old blankets as well, and that's for treating your audio. So a lot of times you're in a room that has lots of echo because there's nothing on the wall or on the floor, maybe you have hardwood or tile, and it sounds terrible for your audio. So this room actually sounds okay because we have carpets and a couch and everything like that that's helping resist that bounce. But if you didn't, you could just honestly throw a couple blankets right onto the ground, especially in a tiled or hardwood place, and just get them all across the ground, and that will help reduce a lot of that echo in the room. And you could also hang them from the walls if you needed to. Obviously, it doesn't look super great, but a handful of blankets or moving blankets will definitely do the job. So there you go, there's 10 items that you're never gonna be able to look at the same again. You're gonna see a strainer like at your friend's house and be like, nice Cucaloris. Guys, if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe right now because I have a ton more videos coming out on shooting, editing, lighting, everything like that. All right, we'll see you in the next video.